Okay, so the second tool I want to talk about is the bulk insert. So I showed you about the import export wizard, which is a pretty nice tool. It makes it real easy to import and export, but there's times where you may want to actually do it through SQL. And so SQL has this bulk insert statement. You can see one here. It's an example from the help database on Microsoft, and it's bulk insert sales order detail from some file. So let's head over and let's try it ourselves. So the last time we left off, we have data in the products Excel, and we don't have any data in the products table, right? And so I have a SQL script already up, has the bulk insert stuff in it. So how do we actually craft this thing up? And the first thing you do, and here, let me go ahead and do this. I will go ahead and open a new query window, and we'll do it from scratch. So the first thing you do is you say bulk insert, and then you say what you want to insert into, and it's probably best to say a fully qualified table name. So fully qualified means database.schema.table name. So the database is Excel import training dot DBO dot products. So we're going to put it into the products table. The next thing you do is you say from. Let me go ahead and get the case right here. It doesn't matter, but it just looks better for this example, so I'm just putting that uppercase. So the next thing is from. Well, where are you getting it from, right? And so I'll put 2 ticks, and then I need to go get the location of where we're getting this from. And we're getting it from the demo folder in my C drive / and then I need the products table. So I'll just hit F2, do a little copy, paste that in there. Right? And so then there's a few switches we need to put in there. And so we put a couple parentheses. We need to know the field terminator. So the field terminator says, well, is it commas? Is it pipes? How's it how's each field separated? And in our case, right now, with this file, we are going to use the pipe. So then we use a comma, and then we say row terminator, and then we use the \n, lowercase n, which is the carriage return. And let's just start there. Okay, so this should bulk insert into our table from the products database. But before I do that, there's one other thing I want to do, and I forgot to do this. But when we were in the last the last video, we just did the default. So we brought everything into the import export wizard, and it brought everything as a varchar. Well, cost is actually a decimal. Product date's actually a date, right? So those things in a regular database, you'd have the right data types. Well, I've got a little script over here somewhere. There it is. And I want to create a new table, product 2. And it has, integer for product ID, integer for category ID, subcategory ID, decimal for cost, and a date. So now we've got some real data types here. And so don't need that. It'll default. So I've got this script here, create table. So let me execute that. And let me actually get a new connection. Sorry, I killed this. I had a database going before, and I killed the connection. So let me just grab that. I'll copy it into a new query with a connection, and we'll run it again. And so now I've got a new products table 2 over there. And there it is, right? And the data types for the columns, we have integers and decimals and stuff. So this is going to make it interesting, and we should get some failures. So let's go back over here, and instead of inserting the products 2. Okay, so let's run this and see what happens. Incorrect syntax near field terminator. I forgot a keyword. the keyword I forgot is with. There we go. So before you put these parentheses, you need the with keyword. So let's go again. Okay, so this is what I was looking for. It says bulk load data conversion error, type mismatch. And it says row 1, column 1, product ID. Well, how do we troubleshoot something like that? Well, the product ID is now an integer, we know over here. So let's go look at the first row of our text file. I'm just gonna open it up. Oh, the first row is the header, right? And so it's trying to take this and insert it into an integer, and that's a string. So what we need to do is tell it to skip that first row, don't we? Well, let's go back over, and there's another clause we need to put in there. And it is called the first row. We'll say the first row is number 2. So now let's do this again. And everything went in just fine. So that first row was getting us in trouble. So now if we go to the products 2 table, let me get a new query again. Select star from products 2. And we have data in products 2. And so let's go ahead and the next thing we want to do, let me go ahead and delete out of that table. And I don't need a star there. Okay, so we got rid of all the data there. So now, if we do a select, okay, data's gone. The next thing I want to do though, is we have that Excel file, right? And we want to get that imported into a table. So let's go open the Excel file. It's an XLSX. And with bulk insert, you can't do it directly. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it and save it as a CSV file. So I go to File, Save As, and I'm going to say CSV file. Where's that at? Right there. So I'm going to have a product CSV file out there. Now we'll get this little message that says the file type does not support workbooks that contain multiple sheets. To save all sheets, save them individually, or we can just save the active sheet. Well, we only care about the active sheet. Okay, so that's fine. Oh, and then we got another message. Products CSV may contain features that are not compatible with CSV MS-DOS. Do you want to keep the workbook in this format? Well, right now, if you look at like this header row has formatting on it, you know, colors, borders, and stuff like that. Well, when it saves as a CSV, it is not going to be able to save that formatting stuff, and it wants to know if we want to, if we actually save it, we're going to lose all that formatting, right? Well, we don't care about that. We have an XLSX file that has that in there, and we want to save the CSV that's just text. Okay, so let's go ahead and say yes, and then close it down. And it'll ask us to save again, and we could save it again, or you can just say don't save. So now if you look, we have a product CSV file. I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to open it in Notepad, and you can see that it's comma separated, right? So all the values are separated by commas. The first row has the header in it. And then one other thing to look at is this right here. So the cost on some of these has a comma in it. This is going to show us, this is going to prove to be a problem here, but I'm going to run it anyways, just to kind of, so you can see what happens. All right, so now we have a CSV file. It was what our Excel was. We saved Excel as CSV, and now let's go and let's get this thing in there. So we're going to stick it into products 2, and we're going to get it from the CSV file, right? Get the case right. Okay, now the filled terminator is a comma. Still going to skip the first row. So here we go. You ready? And so now we've got some problems. And we have a problem with row 7 and 8, 14 and 15 on the product cost, right? Let's go look at those. So if I open this in Notepad and we look at 7 and 8, right there. You can see that there's commas in there. Well, a comma is not a valid value to stick inside of a decimal. It's just there for formatting reasons, isn't it? It's just there to help us read it, but it's really not a number. So what we need to do is resave our CSV file. This is the problem that you end up having, and I've seen it quite a bit when you have an Excel file that somebody opens and then they save it as a CSV. But there is a cure for that. And so what we want to do is all these commas, I'm just going to take this column, highlight everything, and I am going to turn it into text. So see, now those commas are gone. Okay, so let's go ahead and now let's save it as a CSV file. And we do want to replace it. Yeah, the other one doesn't work anyways. And we have multiple sheets. That's okay. And we're not going to have our format anymore. Okay, great. Okay, so now we've got it saved. Let's go ahead and close this out. And now if we go look at the CSV file, notice that our commas are gone out of the numbers. And then they didn't have to put quotes around it either. So let's go try this again. So all we have to do is rerun this. First of all, before I do that, I want to see if we have any data in here. Okay, no data. Now let's go back over and I will run it. And no errors. 560 rows were put in. That error's gone. And we can just simply select from the table. 560 rows are in. Everything looks good. So that is how you use bulk insert, and not the import export wizard, but the bulk insert, in order to get data from a text file or Excel into your SQL Server.